Tim Walz, what do you got for us? Just in, Governor Tim Walz addresses ICE presence in Minnesota following Minneapolis shooting and protests. To be clear, okay, just so everyone understands, I hope you all understand the extent of this, and I don't know if I've covered it in its fullest because my rhetoric has always been kind of maximalist when it comes to ICE and the Trump administration. Right now, the state of Minnesota is under siege. ICE is wandering through the Twin Cities, abducting people at random. They get paid or at least quoted per abduction. There are literally like empty cars left idling in gas stations because a brown person stopped to get some gas and they just got swarmed by like 6 cars, unmarked ICE cars, and taken away. It is widespread. A huge number of citizens have been taken. A huge number of non-citizens have been taken. Just an insane, like, it is genuinely a state under siege. It is completely unprecedented in all of American history. Nothing else comes close, genuinely. ICE is acting more like slave catchers than anything else. Yes, they're going door to door asking people about their race and the race of their neighbors. It's a whole deal. So Tim Walz has the opportunity, given all of this, to essentially lead the defense. Like, Tim Walz, listen, you're under siege either way. Tim Walz gets to decide whether Minneapolis is Paris or Stalingrad. He gets to make that decision, you know? He can lead the, at least in the public consciousness, he can lead the pushback. There's not much he can do in terms of like direct interference, unfortunately. ICE outnumbers police in Minneapolis 6-1. So it's in terms of raw numbers, there's not much that he could do besides deploying the National Guard. And if he deployed the National Guard, they would immediately be federalized by the president. So that might get settled in court later, but in the immediate sense, there's not much that he can do. But it is his state. They are his people, and he has a responsibility to protect them. Unfortunately, he's not doing that. Before we play this video, the contents of which I have not seen, by the way, but I have a pretty good idea of what it's going to look like. Here's a post he made to X, the Everything app. I'm making a direct appeal to the president. Let's turn the temperature down, stop this campaign of retribution. This is not who we are. And an appeal to Minnesotans. I know this is scary. We must speak out loudly, urgently, but also peacefully. We cannot fan the flames of chaos. That's what he wants. Unimaginably weak, right? Not even a Democrat failing to meet the moment. This is the kind of shit you would expect from somebody like Jeffries or Schumer. You know? Ridiculous. What did the Dems do to you, man? Genuinely, I have no idea. Do they have video of him kids on Little St. James? I have no idea. You know it's dramatic when they have to walk into frame.
My fellow Minnesotans, what's happening in Minnesota right now defies...
And of course, the audio is only coming in through the left channel. You can't hear it because it's playing on mono through the stream, but I have to hear it through my left earbud.
...belief. News reports simply don't do justice to the level of chaos and disruption and trauma the federal government is raining down upon our communities. 2,000 to 3,000 armed agents of the federal government have been deployed to Minnesota. Armed, masked, undertrained ICE agents are going door to door, ordering people to point out where their neighbors of color live. They're pulling over people.
I'm just going to tear this apart because I hate him. For one, ICE agents are not undertrained, they're untrained. And the problem with them is not that they're not well trained. In fact, if they were well trained, they would be more of a problem. They're Nazis. If they were better trained, they would be better able to handle themselves in the face of all the public pressure that they're dealing with every time they go out there. Once again, the Democrat, and by the way, like basically every Democrat, even Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, has said that they are not in favor of abolishing ICE. So again, that's the party we're dealing with, you know? Also, I don't like the euphemism people of color here, neighbors of color, just say black and brown people. I don't know. We're a little bit past the point for like softening euphemisms, I think.
Indiscriminately, including U.S. citizens, and demanding to see their papers. And at grocery stores, at bus stops, even at our schools. They're breaking windows, dragging pregnant women down the street, just plain grabbing Minnesotans and shoving them into unmarked vans, kidnapping innocent people with no warning and no due process. Let's be very, very clear. This long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. Instead,
It never was. Don't even concede to that point. The idea that this was ever about immigration enforcement is a fucking lie. Like, why would you ever give them that? They've gone too far this time. The idea that this was ever about protecting ethnic Germans on the western border of Poland has long since been, it's no longer about that. It never was, man.
it's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of Minnesota by our own federal government.
Terror. You can call it terrorism. It is.
That campaign claimed the life of Renee Nicole Good. We've all watched the video. We've all seen what happened. And yet, instead of
It
conducting
wasn't the campaign that claimed a life. It was a murder conducted by a member of the federal government. Softening language.
an impartial investigation so we can hold accountable the officer responsible for Renee's death,
Notice, by the way, there's no, like, moralizing language. Nothing like these evil ICE officers, this campaign of terror. It's phrased neutrally, like he's trying to present this to a judge. This is like an totally unnecessary and ineffective kind of handcuffing that Dems do to themselves for no reason when Republicans feel no such compulsion. There is literally no harm in calling them evil. They are evil. You don't have to, like, the only person the Democrats are willing to call evil is Trump, directly. Everyone else is just doing their job badly.
the Trump administration is devoting the full power of the federal government to finding an excuse to attack the victim and her family. Just yesterday, 6 federal prosecutors, including the longtime career prosecutor leading the charge to investigate and eliminate fraud in our state's programs, quit their jobs rather than go along with this assault on the United States Constitution. But as bad as it's been, Donald Trump intends for it to get worse. This week, he went online to promise that, quote, the day of retribution and reckoning is coming. That's a direct threat against the people of this state who dared to vote against him 3 times and who continue to stand up for freedom with courage and empathy and profound grace. All across Minnesota, people are stepping up to help their neighbors who are being unjustly and
This is true. We'll talk about this.
unlawfully targeted. They're distributing care packages and walking kids to school and raising their voices in peaceful protest, even though doing so has made many of our fellow Minnesotans targets for violent retribution. Folks, I know it's scary, and I know it's absurd that we all have to be defending law and order, justice, and humanity.
By the way, it's especially pathetic that these, like, civilian responses to ICE intervention in Minneapolis and such are not at all being directed by or assisted by the state government, you know? Like, if Walz really wanted to lead the charge, he could talk about how the state is being occupied, these are illegal criminal thugs, and, every citizen has the legal right to observe them, to film, be careful, but so and so. Like, there are things that they could do. And naysayers will say, well, that would open him up to liability. What if somebody got hurt or arrested? And then they would blame Tim Walz for it, to which the answer is, they already are, and they already are, you know? He does say that at the end of the video, yeah, but as, like, well, I haven't seen the video, but by and large, the state government has not really been involved in this effort. They have been very, very hands-off in their, like, oh, we're investigating, please stay peaceful, blah, blah, blah. Just, they're not acting like the state is under siege. And they are.
Humanity, while also caring for our families and trying to do our jobs. So tonight, let me say once again to Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, end this occupation. You've done enough. Let me say 4 critical...
Pathetic. You've done enough. It's like the teary words of a recently widowed woman, like sending people away after her husband dies in a fight or something. Like it's a concession. It's like an act of weakness, you know? For every ICE officer, like, there may be 5 ICE officers to every Minneapolis police officer, but there are like a fucking million Minnesotans to every ICE officer. That's probably not correct. My math's probably off on that. But there are far more civilians in the city of Minneapolis than there are ICE officers, by a pretty, like, large margin. That's real power. He's done nothing with it.
things to the people of Minnesota. 4 things I want you to hear as you watch the news and look out for your neighbors. First, Donald Trump wants this chaos. He wants confusion. And yes, he wants more violence on our streets. We cannot give him what he wants. We must protest loudly, urgently, but also peacefully.
One of the big problems with this kind of, like, concessionist rhetoric is that they don't give you an out. They don't explain to you how what you're going to do is going to make a difference. Everybody knows that whether or not it's viable or effective or possible or desirable, violent protest and violent resistance have the ability to work. Violence is, at the end of the day, the ultimate tool. It's what everyone has always used at every point, successfully or otherwise, to achieve something, some goal. We know that's always an option on the table. But he advocates for nonviolent resistance. Okay, nonviolent resistance is also effective. So, Tim, what exactly do you see happening here? You're asking nicely for the Nazi Gestapo to go away. They're not. They like suffering. So, the peaceful protesting then. What's your goal? See, I'm in favor of the nonviolent protesting in Minneapolis. I've seen what it's done. I've seen what it's led to. Do you know why I'm in favor of it? Because it's a campaign of humiliation and demoralization for the ICE agents. We know they're demoralized. We know they're getting disavowed by their family. We know that they're having psychiatric issues. We know every time they step outside their car, 50,000 people are filming them. We know they're miserable over there and they're ineffective and they're not capable of doing what they want to do. We know that the means of nonviolent resistance that are being practiced by Minnesotans right now are working to demoralize those people. But Tim Walz doesn't say any of this. Why? Because he's too cowardly to acknowledge that the demoralization of ICE is a moral goal. Instead, he appeals to the non-existent sympathy of the Nazis who sent these littler Nazis here. That's the problem. Who would be motivated by this? If you followed his prescriptions, you would believe that there was no outcome. Like, what? Why would they change your behavior or their behavior through the nonviolent resistance that he's advocating for? He's not really giving you a plan here. You need to, at the very least, you need to give people a reason to believe that the nonviolent resistance can do something. How do you do it? What is it going to do? But he won't say it.
Indeed, as hard as we will fight in the courts and at the ballot box, we cannot and will not let violence prevail. You're angry, I'm angry. Angry is not a strong enough word, but we must remain peaceful. Second, you are not powerless, you are not helpless, and you are certainly not alone. All across Minnesota, people are learning about opportunities, not just to resist, but to help people who are in danger. Thousands upon thousands of our fellow Minnesotans are going to be relying on mutual aid in the days and weeks to come, and they need our support.
But to what end? What are you trying to accomplish? Okay? What are you, what do you want done? What specifically?
Tonight, I want to share another way you can help. Witness. Help us establish a record of exactly what's happening in our communities.
Sure, that's a great idea. But again, to what end? Okay? To be very euphemistic, the goal of nonviolent protest in the context of what's happening in Minneapolis is to bully the ICE Gestapo. That's what you want to do. I know that sounds juvenile, but it actually works really well. Morale's already pretty low within ICE's ranks, so the lower it goes, the more people are going to quit, the more people are going to fuck up on the job, the more unhappy they are, the better off we are. I promise you the last thing you want is a happy, career-satisfied ICE agent, okay? But so bearing witness, sure. But let's be real here, okay? When we see videos online coming out of Minneapolis, what we're looking for is not witness, right? We're not looking for videos of what's happening, at least not on its own. We're looking at people like shouting insults at ICE officers, laughing as they trip, you know, watching them do their Benny Hill shit, people screaming for them to kill themselves, you know. We're seeing the overwhelming weight of public disapproval being heaped on them. And that can't happen if you talk like Tim Walz. That can't like Tim Walz is like a little baby lamb, you know, please don't eat me. Well, you're not going to demoralize them. If I was an ICE agent and I was watching this video, I would find what Tim Walz was saying very moralizing. Wow, look at how weak our enemy is, you know? Look at how inept they are. They can't even capitalize on our obvious ineptitude here. Like they're just sitting there waiting for us to decide to give up for no reason.
You have an absolute right to peacefully film ICE agents as they conduct these activities. So carry your phone with you at all times. And if you see these...
Also, you don't need to keep reaffirming that you want peaceful protest, okay? The Trump administration accused people of terrorism and sedition for saying that soldiers have a legal obligation to not follow illegal orders. If something happens, they're going to blame you for it either way, and it won't turn to anything in the court system. They lose every court case, okay? Nothing will come of it. You don't need to keep, doling your teeth with this rhetoric.
Agents in your neighborhood, take out that phone and hit record.
Wow.
Help us create a database of the atrocities against Minnesotans, not just to establish a record for posterity, but to bank evidence for future prosecution. The third thing I want to say to you tonight is we will not have to live like this forever. Accountability is coming at the voting
Eventually, they'll give up and go home.
booth and in court. We will reclaim our communities from Donald Trump. We will reestablish a sense of safety for our neighbors. And we will bring an end to this moment of chaos, confusion, and trauma.
Just 3 more years, man. Just 3 more years of this. Don't worry, it's gonna be fine. Basically, every Democrat is either refusing to answer the question or answering in the negative when asked if they want to abolish ICE. But don't worry, guys. Trust me. In 3 years, it'll all be fine. Democrats will just keep the existing bloated funding of ICE. You know, they'll keep all the same people on board, and it'll be like, you know, but let bygones be bygones.
We will find a way to move forward, and we'll do it together. And we'll not be alone. Every day, we are working with business leaders, faith leaders, legal experts, and elected officials from across this country. They've all seen what Donald Trump is trying to do to our state, and they know their states could be next. And that brings me to the fourth thing I want to say tonight, Minnesota.
Nothing provides morale to the good people of Minnesota quite like hearing their governor say, listen, I'm talking to business leaders around the country, and they also don't want this happening, as though business leaders aren't exactly the reason why we're here in this moment.
How incredibly proud I am of the way that you've risen to meet this unbearable moment. But I'm not at all surprised, because this is who we are. Minnesotans believe in the rule of law. And Minnesotans believe in the dignity of all people. We're a place where there's room for everybody, no matter who you are, or who you love, or where you came from. A place where we feed our kids. We take care of our neighbors.
Can you imagine being, like, mobilized because of this? Can you imagine being, like, a disaffected, apolitical person who's radicalized into going to the street and defending your neighborhood against those Nazi thugs off a video like this? If anything, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this encouraged some people who were going out and filling ICE to just stay at home, because, like, what's the fucking point?
And we look out for those in the shadows of life. We're an island of decency in a country being driven towards cruelty. We will remain an island of decency, of justice, of community, of peace. And tonight I come before you simply to ask, don't let anyone take that away from us. Thank you, protect each other, and may God bless the people of Minnesota.
That's great. Have we ever gotten revolutionary rhetoric from politicians? I'm not asking for revolutionary rhetoric. Don't overstate the case here, okay? I'm asking for basic competency. Naturally, in response to the worsening situation in Minnesota, which, again, I cannot, like, stress enough to you guys, it is an actual ongoing Nazi siege. People are just being abducted willy-nilly, like they're being disappeared. It's very, very possible that many of the people who are being disappeared right now will never be seen or heard from again. Trump, of course, threatened to institute the Insurrection Act, as he done 50,000 times before. If he invokes the Insurrection Act, it would almost certainly not actually change anything. If anything, like, the National Guard would just go in there and then not cooperate with ICE, because the ICE agents are so obviously corrupt and so belligerent and violent. They would just, like, stand there. It wouldn't really do anything. A reminder to everyone that the Insurrection Act does not mean martial law. Those are different things. We don't really have a legal framework for martial law. What would realistically happen if Walz called in the National Guard? Trump would immediately federalize them, and then they'd be controlled by Trump. Do you think the whole Minnesota deal is enough to get Republicans, at least those in Minneapolis, to finally recognize the evil of the right? No. If they're Republicans, they are evil. I wouldn't expect this to move the needle that much. Make a difference. ICE has been abducting citizens too. People who are, like, have their documents on. They just take you. It doesn't matter. There's no law. They're just a gang. Fun. Saw that clip where they were holding a 5-year-old as hostage outside her parents inside the house. Ah, yes. They abducted a small child and held her outside the house of the parents and said, like, if you want your kid, you're coming out here and getting arrested.
All right, stay here. Let me see your head. Where's your head? Right here. Sorry, we're just checking on my head. I don't believe I'm bleeding. I think it's that bad. That absolutely horrible. But thankfully, at least was wearing a hat.
No Fed posting, even if you're completely correct.
Let's back up away a little bit. The gas is coming our way.
There's a lot of it, and it's pretty nonstop. The Minnesota sub is fucking disgusting. So many worthless neolibs sewing out about Walz's post. Don't There's no need to divide us right now, okay? You see someone raided one of the abandoned cars and found all their plans and a bunch of weird bounty hunter medals? Yeah, ICE gives them, like, challenge medals for, like, beating up people and stuff. Probably, like, if you kill someone or you, like, ram your first car or whatever, you get, like, cool little, like, metal challenge pins. Special forces groups like to do this, too. Like, the first time you a kid or whatever, they're like, here you go, here's your badge. It's like the Boy Scouts. Do ICE have some kind of immunity? Legally, they benefit from the same qualified immunity that regular police officers do, but they can be prosecuted for what they do. It's just nobody's willing to do it. Was this the car they raided? Of course, it's all eagles and skulls. 2 abandoned ICE vehicles were left at the scene of the shooting. Oh, right, the shooting they did. This is the one where they shot that guy on the lawn of his, like, pregnant wife or something? Am I remembering that correctly? I don't know. A lot of stuff's happening. Yes? Okay, gotcha. Great. All right, well, let's shift gears a little bit.